Hi guys, welcome to another episode in the series Conversations with Shelly. I am Shelly for those of you who are joining me for the first time. And of course, you are on that segment of my channel where I speak on my GLP-1 journey from the moment I started this metabolic protocol, metabolic slash weight loss protocol until I am now at maintenance. So, for those of you who are joining me for the first time, welcome. For those of you who've been here for at least the last 36 weeks, welcome back. Thank you always for being a part of this weekly update. Now, I wanted to just give you some context in terms of where we are and what part of this week's update I'll be looking at. So, of course, I'll be updating you on week 35 and 36 of my total GLP-1 journey, as I would have indicated both on a branded Tirzepatide, Mounjaro, as well as compounded Tirzepatide via varying compounding pharmacies. So while I have now completed 36 weeks in total, a combination of my active metabolic and weight loss journey, I would have done 26 weeks, right? 26 weeks on that active metabolic weight loss journey. And I would have now been 10 weeks in on my maintenance journey. So, of course, as I mentioned, total 36 weeks, right? But my update is really week 9 and 10 of the maintenance phase, which I think a lot of us within the community call it phase 2, but I'm not sure, but I'm gonna refer to it as phase 2, right? So for phase 2, which is this week's update, which is, as I said, 9 and 10, I'm gonna take you through what has essentially happened over the last 2 weeks. But I wanted to start off by giving you some statistics. So I am 5'6". I started this journey on the 18th of August 2025 at 215 pounds, and I ended my active metabolic slash weight loss journey somewhere about the first week of March, somewhere about the 5th or 4th of March 2026. And I immediately went into maintenance on the 6th of March 2026. And I went into maintenance at an end weight of 145 pounds. Now, I entered maintenance at this particular weight, not being a weight goal or goal weight, because I have often said here that I don't have a goal weight. What I do have was a goal in mind. And if you can recall from previous episodes or previous, updates, I would have indicated that I don't have a goal weight. What I had was a goal to fit into a particular top that I really loved. And I wanted to fit into that top very comfortably. Now, somewhere around 145, I realized that I was able to get into that particular top without any discomfort. I was able to, you know, move around comfortably in it. So on that being the goal, I decided to start my maintenance journey. So as I mentioned, my maintenance journey actually began on the 6th of March. So that being the context provided, I'm now going to give you an update on week 9 and 10. Now, there's something to be said about maintenance that is very different from the active metabolic and weight loss journey. Because in those first 27 weeks, there was a lot of excitement that came with, getting up week on week and, losing the pounds and losing the inches and getting, your insulin levels under control and just overall metabolic health, getting your BMI under control and all the other things that goes along with those significant metabolic markers or indicators. So during those times, there was a lot of excitement that was taking place as a result of all these things that are naturally changing and you are registering them and you are making note of them as you go along week on week. But somewhere around my first 4 weeks in maintenance, I want to say that my body hit what is now known to us as a set point. And I have not been able to clear that set point in any significant way to feel that level of excitement that I felt in the active phase, which is phase one. So somewhere about week four, I realized that it's maintenance is very boring, for want of a better word. I don't know how else to explain what maintenance felt like, save and except to say that it was quite uneventful. I mean, nothing wasn't changing in the same way. I mean, the desire to and excitement to see changes was not the same. They were not happening at the same speed or at the same pace. So you can imagine there were a lot of increased mental anxiety that came with this particular phase. Um, a lot of concerns too, because in your mind, while you understand maintenance to be exactly as the word suggests, maintain, there was some part of my mental state that really wanted to see some amount of weight loss. I don't know if that makes sense, and I don't know if anybody else is experiencing that as well. But I know my metabolic indicators were under control. So while I was going through this phase two, there was a part of me that really wanted to experience the excitement, and the newness of getting that weight loss going and those things happening in the same way. Unfortunately, as I said, our bodies at some point in time reach that set point, and you know that there's really nothing more to expect. Certainly not in the same way. And I think for me, that was one of the things that it wasn't shocking, but it was new, right? So I went through the first 4 weeks of maintenance feeling pretty like, oh, stepping on the scale was not as excited again. You know, doing all the things that I used to do was just becoming such of a daily routine. It's almost like I was in a rut now, but a good rut because, of course, I have acquired the skills and the tools that were necessary to help me through the last 10 weeks. So I have been able to manage this maintenance phase in a way that I'm proud of and in a way that I can safely say I think I won't say that I've conquered it because hey, it's new with just 10 weeks in, but I think I have reached a point where I can see that I have learned a lot and I'm putting what I've learned into practice and I'm seeing it unfold because there's no gains. And certainly being within the last 2 weeks, weeks 9 and 10, um, my statistics in terms of weight has been the same. There's been no fluctuation. Well, there may have been a fluctuation where I went as low as 141.8, but that was very short lived. It's like my body is at that place now where it is set and it is forever set at 143.8. So while I have not um, gained or passed my end weight of 145.8, I certainly am not going. I have not gone below 141, which is the lowest I've been within the last couple of months, more so since starting this particular protocol. And as I said, because of how, week on week, there's really no change to register. Um, it has become something that, as I said, it's quite uneventful. But there is this side of it that a lot of persons within the space have spoken about. I've watched quite a lot of other content creators who have said, maintenance is pretty, you know, standard. Nothing major is happening. And I think for a lot of us, that's the mental um, anxiety and the mental shift that happens between the two phases. That for me, I wanted to talk about. So the real thing to register on maintenance is, at this point in time, I think we have gotten accustomed to the side effects, if there's any. I mean, in my particular circumstance, the side effects have subsided significantly. And this is not just for maintenance, but they have subsided significantly even between weeks 1 to 27, 26 rather. Um, I think the only one that obtains to this day has been the hair loss, which in a lot of instances, I have found ways of remedying that, and I would have spoken about, the hair loss and what I have done in order to combat that shedding. And at week 10, I will say that I have gained a significant amount of new growth, which I am very, very proud of, especially on my edges. A lot of growth has happened there. Um, I think something though that is noticed, um, and I believe is a noticeable mention, is that the fatigue is back. No, I don't know exactly why, um, but there is this intense or severe fatigue that is now happening, which is very similar to the fatigue that I experienced when I just started on the 2.5 and the 5 milligram. It is very much mimicking that level of fatigue in the exact same way. And if I'm to be honest, I think it has been more severe because I on those initial stages when I was experiencing fatigue, I could have functioned. It was just more like I had a few more yawns than was necessary. But now it's full blown wanting to just roll over and just shut my eyes burning and all of that. I don't know if that has anything to do with the fact that um during this maintenance phase, I have now my 7 milligrams seep so deep within my body that it is now concentrated and I'm now feeling the effects of it. So I'll give you some backstory. I lost a significant amount of weight and got my metabolic indicators under control, my BMI, my insulin, blood sugar levels, and all of that on on the 5 milligrams. So I did of um, a lot of changes in my, standard markers happen on the 5 milligram. So it was really in maintenance that the 7.5 was actually um, more pronounced, because the truth about it is that during my active phase one, I wasn't, the 7.5 did not sit in my system quite yet. I think I may have done maybe the most 3 weeks during the active between phase one on a 7.5. So most of my seven, not 7.5, it's seven because it's compound. Most of my seven actually took place within maintenance. So I guess that could be the reason why I'm now feeling this intense exhaustion. I don't think I will titrate down to the 5 because I did that the first maybe week of maintenance, and that was not good at all. That was not, it didn't feel right. I had the food noises knocking louder than I can ever imagine. I also, my hunger cues and my satiety was all time lowest. Like I was feeling hungry all the time. Um, so I quickly only spent 1 week at a titrated dose during the first week of maintenance. Right after that, I said to myself, no, I'm not titrating down for maintenance. Even though I ended my active phase one on a 7, I certainly did not titrate down beyond the first week of maintenance because I realized what was happening to me very quickly. So since then, I have been on the 7 point, I keep saying 7.5, but it's really 7 milligrams, right? I have been on the 7 milligram since then. And as I said, I don't know if because now it is so much concentrated within my system, I'm now getting these high levels of fatigue. The fatigue, guys, it's real. Yeah. Albeit, I am noticing also that I can increase my protein without feeling um this stuffed feeling like I just ate an elephant. I can now intake a lot more protein and a lot more fiber rich things that I wasn't able to do before. So I don't know what that's about, but I welcome anything that allows me to maintain my muscle mass and to maintain my collagen and to support those things that goes along with rapid weight loss, as we all know them to be. So I will welcome me being able to eat a couple more grams of protein and not having to feel that level of fullness by 2 or 3 bites. So that has been something a noticeable mention to talk about. Um, but all in all, my week 9 and 10 maintenance have been pretty standard. I always tell you that I chronicle my experience in my Tirzepatide journal. Yes, guys, I do keep a journal, and this I've gotten from Amazon. And this is, I think, maybe my third or fourth. Um, I think it's my third or fourth um journal. Yeah, I think it's my third. But I just want to give you a quick run through of what I ate for week 9 and 10. As I said, it's pretty standard. I mean, my food patterns haven't changed. I still try to maintain protein. I do still take a lot of hot beverages such as my coffee or soups. I love soups a lot. I try to maintain that. Um, I have, however, increased on eggs. Like, I wasn't an egg girl, and now I am having 3 or 4 boiled eggs in the morning for breakfast, which, as I said, I think that is where the increased protein has come from, because previously I probably couldn't down 1 or 2 eggs. Now I'm able to have a solid breakfast of 4 eggs and a cup of coffee, and that maintains me till maybe about 2, 3 o'clock midday. Not midday, maybe, yeah, way down in the evening, to be honest. And then I'm able to have another bite of some protein. So all in all, I have maintained my diet, not too much of a low caloric intake, because the idea about the maintenance phase is to move away from too much of a low caloric intake in terms of the diet itself. So I can't say that I have maintained that low um, you know intake of food. I've definitely increased that over the last 10 weeks. Um, I have also changed providers, and I'm now with pomegranate. I think I've said that I was with um, Go by Meds and Orderly Meds. Um, and I've now switched. I have no real reason as to why I switched. I think what was happening as to why I switched was the medication that I got. I realized it wasn't, in some instances it wasn't as potent. The efficacy of it wasn't as strong. So I decided to change providers to see if that may have helped. Um, I also had a change with pomegranate. I used Halandal, and I quickly sent them a note to say, hey, listen, don't want Halandal anymore, even though it was pure Tirzepatide and it wasn't mixed with anything. It was weak. It didn't help me at all. And they were gracious enough to have switched me to BPI. But here is the struggle that I'm having. Having gotten a taste of BPI, which I also had in my Go by Meds prescription, having done that, I'm now saddened by the fact that BPI is no longer going to be compounding GLP-1s. So I have followed what, the guidance is, to order at least, 6 months of medication, which I have done. Haven't gotten it as yet, but I think I'm supposed to be getting that shortly. But again, because they're going out of compounding the medication, there may be some backlog, or there may be some, heightened ordering that's going on. But my order was accepted from BPI, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed that something else will be out there that gives me the level of potency that I got from BPI, because Lord knows I can't have the food noise come back. I can't have my metabolic indicators go up at all. So BPI, hmm, gonna miss you, love you, but um, it is what it is, yeah. So that's pretty much been my week 9 and 10 update. As I said, there isn't a lot to um discuss or talk about when it comes to maintenance. It is what it is. Just finding that rhythm that fits your new norm, and to putting those into practice based on the tools that you have learned, and now working by given the protocol and what is the guidance that the space has provided. And certainly just understanding that these medications are there to help and support. They are not miracle drugs. You still need to um, have good lifestyle practices, and certainly good um, relationship with food. It's not just about a magic, you know, pill or a magic jab, as most persons would want to present it as. And I certainly have learned that for sure, because there's actual hard work that goes into um, the medication, understanding the side effects, going through the side effects, understanding what is happening to your body um, each week that you go through these varying, um, injections and shot days, as they call them. So all in all, and as always, there is the mental aspect of it that I speak about all the time, because a lot of things happen on these medications, for different persons, and your experience may not be the same as mine, and my experience may not be the same as yours. So to think that it is a magic pill that we all take and we don't have to do anything, and it's just the easy way out, as people say, I'm here to tell you it isn't. There are days when yeah, yeah, we could talk about it for hours, right? But I just wanted to stop by here to just give you an update as to what my week 9 and 10 on maintenance have been, and to let you know that yes, it is quite boring, um, but I understand it for what it is. And as we navigate it together, you will see if you're on it, your protocol as well. When you get to maintenance, I'm sure that my experience will help you understand it as well. I still have absolutely no regrets about taking the medication. Um, Continuing to do what is recommended by my doctor and my provider, and just trying to learn as much about the things that are happening within the space, and to try to do as much research for my own self, and to do so with some amount of responsibility when I communicate it here um, to you. So thank you as always for logging on, listening, and tuning in. And as always, until I see you next week when I give you week 11 update, do be well, be consistent, and be great. And I'll see you next time.